Folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we continue our retrospective of the beloved horror franchise, Halloween. And this week we're taking a look at the train wreck known as Halloween 2, directed by Rob Zombie, which came out in 2009. Now, this is the follow up to Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween from 2007. With much of the same cast and crew. So it stars Scout Taylor Compton again, Danielle Harris returns, Malcolm McDowell, and Brad Dourif, as well as Tyler Mane playing Michael Myers again. So the film starts off with the end of the 2007 Halloween, when Laurie shoots Michael Myers in the face. And we see her strolling down the street, caped in blood, and we see Sheriff Lee Brackett picks her up, and she sees that she's babbling incoherently, and so Sheriff Brackett takes her to the hospital, and then we see Laurie in the hospital, and she's, again, covered in blood, and she looks like she's been through an incredible beating, and we see even a bone popping out of her arm. She's all messed up. So Laurie's in the hospital trying to recuperate, and we see Michael Myers come back into the picture. He's tracked her down to the hospital, just like in the original 1981 Halloween 2. So it's kind of nice that they paid homage to the film, the original Halloween 2. So Michael tracks her down, and Laurie tries to escape. She manages to get out the door and down the stairs. And she goes to to the entrance. She gets to the entranceway of the hospital, the gate, and she meets up with the security guard there. And the guard tells her to wait inside the booth. So the security guard leaves her there, and he says, "I'll be right back." But as we know in all horror films, never say you'll be back, because you won't be back. Because Michael takes him out real quick. And he kind of stalks around the booth in true boogeyman fashion. He takes an axe and smashes out all the windows, and it's a really intense scene. It's my favorite scene in the movie, I'd say. And he smashes through the door, and just as he's about to drop the axe in Laurie's skull, blam! It's just a dream. She wakes up. So it seems like that kind of scene was pretty much wasted, which is like my favorite scene in the movie. Why? But that scene was very well directed and very intense and very pulse pounding, I would say. And it had great atmosphere. It had the pouring rain and the lightning. It's really dark. That's a great scene, though. But we see in reality Laurie is living with Sheriff Lee Brackett and Annie, played by Danielle Harris again. And so Annie and Laurie are really traumatized, and that kind of puts them at odds a little bit. They're having some problems dealing with it. Laurie tries to deal with it by going to a therapist, played by Margot Kidder from Superman films. Lois Lane, folks. So Laurie tries to deal with her issues, but she's having a lot of trouble with it. She starts lashing out. She lashes out at the therapist, lashes out at Sheriff Brackett, lashes out at Annie, and she's having a real hard time with it. And we also then meet up with Dr. Loomis again, played by Malcolm McDowell. And but this is a much different Dr. Loomis this time around, because he's kind of a dickhead. Because he came out with a book about all of his experiences with Michael Myers, and it becomes a bestseller, and then all of a sudden he thinks he's a rock star now. He starts going on TV talk shows and book signings at the local record stores and bookstores, and he just develops a real cocky attitude, real selfish, real self-centered, and it's definitely not the Dr. Loomis that we know and love from the original franchise, as played by the great Donald Pleasance. Far cry from that, I'm afraid. We also see a scene of Michael Myers in the sanitarium meeting up with his mother. And Deborah Myers gives Michael this statue of a white horse. And that kind of becomes the theme of the film and the kind of the basis for the film. And as Deborah talks about, Deborah and Michael talk about this dream Michael had about Deborah looking so beautiful with this beautiful white horse, and so Michael continues to have those dreams throughout the film. Now, how is Michael back? We see the scene of Michael being taken away in the ambulance. The ambulance takes his body away. The paramedics drive him. I guess they want to have him buried or whatever, take him to the morgue. And for some strange reason, we overhear this conversation between the paramedics, and they start talking about necrophilia and fucking a corpse and shit. It's just a scene to give explicit language and have explicit violence. And there's no need of it at all, but that's kind of Rob Zombie style, I guess. That every person must be a redneck jerk-off. and use ridiculous over-the-top language. So that's one of the problems I have with this film, definitely. But at any rate, they crash into a cow. They crash into a cow. Couldn't come up with anything better than that, Rob? Come on. But they crash into the cow, and the ambulance is totaled, and Michael rises from the dead, smashes through the back of the ambulance, and kills these two jagoffs. And Michael Myers is on the loose again throughout Haddonfield. And then Michael finds this abandoned barn and kind of lives there until his wounds are healed from the first movie. And then we see him kind of roam the hillsides of Haddonfield, on the prowl, ready to get back to track Laurie Strode down again and take her out. But there seems to be a little more meaning this time around, because Laurie begins to have the same dreams as Michael, with that white horse and with young Michael and Deborah Myers. They both have those same dream sequences we see in the film. As it progresses, it seems like Michael and Laurie have a connection, a psychic bond, if you will. And we get some more random scenes of Michael stalking and slashing and taking out these random people, like at a strip bar. He takes out a stripper, the stripper owner, and some random worker there. And he also takes out this random truck full of redneck white trash fools. And it's just a scene to exercise violence. That's all it's there for. It could have easily been cut out of the film. But I guess we have a need to see Michael randomly stab people in extreme brutal fashion. And this movie is extremely brutal. It's uncomfortable. Some of the murder scenes is where you see Michael stab someone viciously like 30 times. But as the film reaches towards its conclusion, Michael finally catches up with Annie Brackett. And we see a farewell to Annie, played by Danielle Harris, which she played the character very well in the sequel, I must say, even better than the last one. So it was kind of sad to see her go, because she had the best performance in the film, in my opinion. And Scout Taylor Compton does play the part a little bit better this time around, I must say. She was definitely more believable. So once Michael takes out Annie, he does catch up with Laurie Strode. And Michael smashes through Laurie's bedroom and chases Laurie out the door, and Laurie gets picked up in the street by this young man. And as they're about to take off in his car, Michael grabs the bottom of the car, and like the Incredible Hulk from the 1970s TV show, he picks up the car and throws it in the ditch. It's just kind of awkward. That scene reminds me of the old 70s Hulk show. It's like, wow, damn, never seen him do like anything like that before. But Michael takes her, Lori's unconscious, and he takes her body out of the truck and takes her away to his barn where he's been living for the past couple of days. And as he's walking through the fields, you see Deborah Myers and the white horse and young Michael Myers, and they look like one little happy little family or something. At least that seems to be Michael's intentions in this movie, to become like a happy family, which is kind of odd, but it's something different. And so there you have it. Michael takes him to the barn, and we see Dr. Loomis come back. I guess he decides to have a change of heart. After being a dick through the whole movie, now he wants to help save Laurie from Michael's grip. And he wants to help bring her to safety and bring her to the police, and talk some sense into Michael. And he gets a knife in the gut for it. Michael takes out Dr. Loomis once and for all, stabs him in the gut, and he takes his mask off and says, "Die!" That's right, Michael Myers actually talks in this movie at the end there. It's kind of crazy. You see him smash through the barn, and the cops take him out, blast the shit out of him, just like in Halloween 4, actually. And Michael's done, that's it. And then you see Laurie emerge from the barn. She's got this real evil look on her face. She's caped in blood again. And she grabs Michael's knife like she's going to stab it into the heart of Dr. Loomis. So the cops take her out as well and shoot her to death. And there you have it. That's the end of the film, folks. So I give the film 1 devil horn up. Did not care for it very much. I thought a lot of scenes could have been easily cut from the film, and it would have made a better cohesive film. Much like The Curse of Michael Myers, how they released the producer's cut with a much better version that made more sense. But Rob Zombie chose not to do that, and as a result it feels much too long and has a lot of random scenes that don't do anything to continue the story. They're just thrown in there for violence sake and for language sake, and so I didn't really care for the film. So there you have my first bad review of the Halloween franchise, folks. But that's my opinion. What do you guys feel? How did you like Halloween 2009? Let me know. Give me a comment. So that's my review, folks, of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 from 2009. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.